YouTube here. I flipped the big lever. YouTube is winding up. All indications are green. That looks good. Everything looks good. We're all set. Let me know if you need anything, Madam Chair.
Oh, thank you, sir.
You're good.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
You're all set.
Thank you, sir. Can we call the meeting to order, please? Stand and do the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, guys. We have roll call, please.
Miller,
Here.
Breakovich,
Here.
Longbreak,
Here.
Ingram,
Here.
Jericho,
Here.
Clark,
Here.
Jeremini.
Here.
Okay, looks like everybody. Okay, moving on to number 4, approval of the agenda. Any additions to be made, please?
Yeah, just a little fix. Under 8B grant, it should read National Fitness Campaign / Priority Health, not Oakland University. Just a grammar, just to clear that up. And then also, do we want to add something for rescheduling the February meeting or discuss that? Because it will fall on President's Day. We don't have to, because I
This
think,
one's MLK Day. What difference does it
well,
make?
usually we have to, yeah.
Yeah,
usually-
really.
President's Day is a village recognized holiday and the village was closed. So we weren't able to hold meeting in normal years. Now that we're in virtual, it doesn't really matter because we can do meetings on the weekends. If we just want to stick with it, that's fine. It was something we've done in the past, so we don't need to this year. So yeah,
Well, I think we should keep the meeting for February.
that works.
Any other? Should we call for a vote then, please? To keep it as is?
With the change, yeah, just with the change that I made, yeah, I'll make that motion.
Yeah, to keep it February 15th?
Oh, we don't need to vote on that.
Miller,
Okay.
yeah, you guys didn't even add it as an agenda item, so you might not need to vote on it.
We need to approve the agenda. I'm sorry, forgive me.
You want to approve
That was
it?
me.
That was-
Yes. Okay, so could we have an approval of the agenda, please, as it stands?
I'll motion.
Second.
Second,
All in favor? Could we have a vote,
Wait,
please?
wait,
Hold on.
you get the second, Sherry?
I did, and I don't know if things have changed for you guys, but all the board meetings in White Lake now, unless it's a substantial motion, you don't need to do a roll call on all of it. So I'm not sure if you guys have had that direction yet.
Not that I'm aware of. In our last council meeting, we did everything roll call still.
Okay, so I'll do a roll call vote on the agenda, and I think we might have passed up the meeting minutes too, so we might need to go back to that. But roll call vote for the agenda. Miller,
Yes, keep as is.
Breakovich,
Well, I have a question. Are we approving it as it is, or are we approving it with the changes that Mark stipulated?
Well, I'm sorry.
Well, Julia said as is, so I wasn't sure.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I meant like what it is now with Mark's added to
Okay.
and the change of the menu of the date, please.
Okay.
I'll do better next time, guys. I
Well,
promise.
that's okay. I was just curious.
No, that's okay.
So, yes, I approve.
okay. Longbreak,
Yes.
Ingram? Yes. Jericho,
Yes.
Clark,
Yep. Yes.
Jeremini.
Yes.
Now we have to
Okay.
approve.
Now, could we approve the minutes of the November 16th minutes, please?
I'll make a motion to approve the November minutes.
Okay,
Second.
all in favor?
Roll
Aye.
call.
Okay, roll call, please.
Miller,
Yes,
Brickovich,
Yes.
Longbreak,
Yes.
Ingram,
Yes.
Carrico,
Yes.
Clark.
I wasn't at the November meeting. Can I still vote on this?
I'll put you as
Yes.
abstain.
Yes, abstained.
Giramini,
Yes.
okay. And could we have an approval of the minutes for the December 19th, 2020 meeting, special meeting, please? That was to do,
Wasn't there.
okay, that was to do with the Halloween thing,
You
wasn't
were
it?
there.
No,
You were
that
there.
was, no, that was
Diane?
the thing.
Oh, was
Christmas
I there?
decorations.
Yeah, that was the decorations
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, I was there. Okay, never mind. Okay, my bad.
Okay, can we have a roll call, please?
Miller,
Yes,
Brickovich,
Yes.
Longbreak,
Yes.
Ingram. Yes. Carrico,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
and Giramini.
Yes.
thank you. And the chairperson report and communications to the board, thank you for allowing me to do this. I don't really have anything to say other than thank you, and then could we move to call to the public? We were going to have Michael Hurst. No, he was the chairman of the water board. Yes, and we also had a Michael Tarango. I called him today and asked him if he knew how to view the meeting with what we were doing. He said, yes, he was going to do it at his house. He's a new member that wants to come on to Parks and Rec. So we put him up to call to the public, figured that way he wouldn't have to go through a whole meeting, but I don't see that he's here yet. So he was going to do his own virtual. So do we just put him to the end in hopes he comes in, or?
Yeah, we can suspend, we can hold on, we can skip over his application in new business, and if he hops on
Okay,
middle of the meeting, we can always bring it back up, and that way, because it would make sense for, I mean, I think it's important that we do interview him before
Right.
we just automatically accept him.
well, he's lived in the village 15 years. He's a loan officer in Royal Oak. He feels strongly about having an impact and improving the community that has given him so much. He has experience with helping people, organization, and conversations. He lives on Brushwood, and we were the first one he wanted to try, and then zoning was second, and then planning was commissioned. So we got him first. So we'll just kind of put him down on the list, and then if he does come in, that's kind of a little brief history on him. Okay, so now we have Michael Hurst, chairman of the water board.
Okay, can I add something to that? Because I know
Yeah.
Mitchell, and I knew his dad. His dad recently passed away that was with the village for years. And I think his dad actually was on council, I think at one point years ago. But so like I highly recommend Mitchell.
Good.
So just as my 2 cents.
Well, he seemed like a really nice guy when I was talking to him today.
Yes, he wants to give back to the community, and I think he'll
Yes,
be a
I
good
think he'd be
asset
an
to our
awesome-
board.
I think he'd be a nice addition. Okay, so then Michael Hurst, chairman of the water board, he has some nice ideas to bring in beautification with the lake and herons and eagles, and so can we turn the meeting over to you, sir, and you can kind of let us know what's going on, please?
Absolutely. Thank you very much for having me. Appreciate it. Apparently, Mark was one of the 2 people that watched our virtual meeting and caught some discussion about beautification and some other ideas that we want to try to push forward this year. We have three big goals that kind of fit in with Parks and Rec, and I've always thought that maybe we could work together on some of these. John Scott was our liaison for several years, and he was very adamant about these two boards doing more work together. And I agree with him because we're kind of in the same business. We're just on a different venue. Ours is water and yours is ground. We have three goals, I think, that cross over well with Parks and Rec. The first is a very broad one, to improve lake access and experience to all villagers, to include fishing. And then Mark told me you guys were also looking at that. So we had some thoughts about possibly extending the Benstein Bridge out to make fishing piers. And also, kind of as a corollary to that, we want to look at improving the road endings to have them more utilized, and if possible, if we can improve the fishing there as well. The third one that we have is, it's kind of a new one. I'm just getting into the research now, but we'd like to look at improving our blue heron and eagle population on the lake. We have had, on average, 2 nesting pairs on this lake for the last 10 years in blue herons. And as that's our symbol, I think we should see if we can get that up a little bit. I very quickly looked at some nesting opportunities, and they actually have plans for nesting poles out on the internet for both blue herons and eagles. They're very similar. They basically sit on top of a 20-foot telephone pole. But my concern there was about location and if we need standoff from the public because of, and to leave them alone. But Mark has also told me you guys are talking about a possible sanctuary, and this may be part of that sanctuary. But what I don't know is where we would put these. I know that you guys have also had some discussions about the Penny Lake lot down on the end. I know John was very adamant, big supporter of that idea behind the apartments. And that's also very interesting to the water board as well, because we'd like to look at, cleaning up that end of the lake anyway, as a possible beautification point. So John thought we should probably talk together. So I wanted to get on the meeting with you real quickly. I don't know how we collaborate going forward, but it just makes a lot of sense. I know the village is about ready to, the council's about ready to go put together their 2021 goals. And I thought at least, a week ago, I was thinking the water board wanted to get some of their goals in front of the council, but maybe if the two boards could get together, we could get some of these ideas out there in front of them now. That's really my pitch. I don't know how to move forward on the collaboration. We're more than willing to try to figure out how to make that work. If you guys are interested, I think it would make a lot of sense for us to work together on these things. So I guess I'll leave that up to you guys with what your comments are.
I don't know what the board thinks, but is there a chance that we could have the two boards meet like we did with council when they had concerns, or?
Yeah, I think we could have some kind of joint, some kind of joint working meeting. I think if we talked about one or two of these, or the three of them, or anything else that you guys might have as an idea, maybe we want to start with either a specific location or the general idea of a sanctuary somewhere. I know that you guys are possibly looking at some butterfly opportunities and some other things. I was thinking about birds, but I think there's some synergies there. So if you think the right step is to put together a joint meeting, we certainly can do that. Maybe Mark can help us out here because he's probably got more experience than I do on how to move something like this forward.
Not as much as I wish I had, but I certainly think it would be that would make a lot of sense, just to do a joint meeting where we essentially schedule something that obviously the public could attend, and then we could more thoroughly hash out some of these ideas and come to agreements and figure out where we really differ, and more importantly, where we really know we can work together. Like I think I mentioned, I know the board knows, I mean, we got a lot of feedback in the survey about people wanting more access to fishing, And then we put in them in that plan, the recreation plan, we did put in the Penny Lake Wolverine Drive spot as a potential park that would involve allowing people to access the lake that way who aren't lakefront owners. And then I mentioned in some meetings, we talked about meadows and things like that, where we would create something more fruitful for wildlife to coexist. And because when you do attract, having healthy things like herons and things like that in your area is a sign that your ecosystem is healthy. So it makes a lot of sense that we work on something to try and attract that. And it would just be, a matter of then getting together, looking at the map of what we have in terms of public land and seeing if we could do something that wouldn't upset residents or disturb their life. I don't know if anybody, I think it makes a lot of sense again. And I know, like he said, like Mike said, John Scott was a big advocate of this. And I think having two boards speak as one would also have more of an impact when talking about budgeting and things like that as well.
Well, if we come together as two boards with a very broad goal, like my first one, improve lake access and experience to all villagers. There's a lot in there, so maybe we start with something broad and try to narrow it down. I agree with you. The idea of having a meadow or a sanctuary somewhere is a great idea. I'm just perplexed on where we could put it, or if we'd have to get some buy-in for some of the private property. I know I've been looking at the lake as far as sites that we might be able to put up a nesting pole, and a lot of the good ones are on people's lots. So, but I think possibly we could get, for that sort of thing, we could get the resident to help us out there. But yeah, whatever makes sense. I know that this board, our board wants to do this. Makes a lot of sense. I think with two boards working on an idea like this, we'll have a lot more opportunity for success. So whatever the next step is, we're willing to do that. If that means that we want to have a joint meeting separate, or if somebody wants to come to our next meeting, then maybe we can have a little bit further concept on where we're going. It really doesn't matter to me. I would like to get something up in front through you, Mark, and Bob, up to council to let them know that there's something on the horizon that may actually require some funding here. So I know you guys they're going into that process soon.
Yep. So yeah, it's actually really good timing.
I'm
Well,
all
I'd like
ears.
to make some comments about that, if you wouldn't mind. So I like the idea of improving the access to fishing. Extending the bridge for fishing pier, there's already a couple bays extending off of the boardwalk where people already fish. So I wonder how that would work. And really that bridge is in pretty rough shape. I don't know what they would do with that. Because
Is that Parks and Rec's bridge, or is that somebody else's bridge?
whose bridge is that? I don't even know. I think it's the village.
It's the village's bridge because the DPW did it.
Yeah,
Okay.
and it's in rough shape. So if you put, some extensions on there, I don't know, maybe they could refinish it or stain it or something, but it's pretty bad. I mean, they tried to make some repairs last year, but I think they were minimal. I mean,
They
there's
did.
still a lot that needs to be done on that
They
bridge.
did do some cleaning and stuff last year for about 20, 30 grand. Some crew came out and did do some
Doesn't
work
look
on
like
it.
they did anything hardly.
I will, yeah, I'm not gonna, I do
Yeah.
know, in our plan, our recreation plan, we did put in there
Yes.
a big old chunk of potential money to repair it and everything else. But Chris Nordstrom warned me, he goes, that sucker would be expensive.
Yeah.
The numbers he was getting
So I do like the
back-wise.
idea and, improving the road ends and that sort of thing. So I'm on Lakeview and I overlook the island area off of Benstein, which we have herons, egrets, and eagles frequent that area. The unfortunate thing about that area is that it's eroding. And every spring, there are just massive chunks floating down the lake. So if there's some way to preserve that area, I think that would make an excellent nesting area, Michael, that you're talking about.
I agree 100%. I was under the assumption that that is owned by somebody.
Yeah, well, when I bought back in the 70s, supposedly there were 8 people that owned a piece of it. Well, it never showed up on title, so I don't know who owns it at this point, but
Well, maybe we should pursue that because I think that's a great idea. And it's also a unique feature on our lake that I'd hate to have disappear like a lot of other things that have. So I think that's a great location. I thought about it as well. I don't know much about the actual structure of the island itself, if it actually has anywhere to actually erect a pole.
I don't think you need it because the eagles are already there. And there's a pair of them that frequent that area. I don't even know that you would need a pole because they're already up probably 200 feet up in the air.
Okay.
So, but I think if we can, I don't know if it's a no wake zone would benefit that area to help with the erosion. I don't know if it's the chemicals that we're using to treat the lake that's causing the erosion, but I've lived here for 40 years and every year it just keeps shrinking and shrinking and shrinking.
Well, Diane, I'll let you know that the wake issue is a big problem with erosion all over the lake, and that's probably what's going on there. I don't think the chemicals we put in are hurting the shoreline, but the wakeboard, any large wakes now are a detriment to everybody's property. Unfortunately, we can't really control or wakeboard boats on the lake. And so everybody's seawall that's built out there isn't built high enough for these new wakes. So that's a problem that we've been trying to address. Haven't found a real workable solution there that's actually legal, because the wake boats cannot be, we can't ban them from the lake.
So can you make that a no wake? What's that? What would be
that's a possibility. We'll probably have to talk to the DNR about that. But it's also possible. We can look into that, but I like the idea of, I really like that island idea. I like the, there's a couple other places back in the marsh that might be interesting as well. So I think we've got several opportunities. I think if we combine the sanctuary idea with the improving the access, those two things together kind of work hand in hand. I really don't know the left and right limits of what we can do with the road endings. I'd like to look at that as well. Nobody uses them that I can see, and it's a damn shame because there's many of them around our lake, and it's a nice access point for people. So what we were talking about is just getting the word out on the road endings, just simply letting everybody know they're there. And what they can and can't be doing about it. The other thing that's come along is, what's that?
I'm sorry, I was saying your meeting, you're talking about having a map online that people could just click.
Right. But if we can also come up with reasons why they need to go there, I don't think we can do this, but maybe we can build some kind of fishing apparatus at those road endings. And we need to look into it. We have there's a lot of resources there that we're really not leveraging within our village. So, I think we have several good ideas. We just need to figure out how to start making them into a program here.
If I may, herons are meat eaters also, just like eagles, they prey. A heron can actually swallow a squirrel whole while it's digesting it. So it's going to have to be places where these little buggers can share a food source.
Yeah.
And an island really isn't going to be unless we ship them in.
Don't they fly to wherever they? They,
Yeah, I'm
they
still
like
trying to get,
squirrels. They can come in my yard because we have way
I
too.
know, I was thinking that. Yeah, they can swallow a squirrel. I mean, and they just swallow it down and it just.
I saw one eating a chipmunk, swallowing a chipmunk
Okay.
Wow.
last
Didn't
year,
know
so
that.
Hate
it was
chipmunks,
quite the
so-
sight, so. But no, I've got to get a lot smarter about that. I mean, we've been counting birds on our lake for years, and
Mhm.
that heron count is from 0 to 5. Now, that doesn't mean we've counted every one of them, but I doubt there's more than 3 nesting pairs on the lake. So I think our lake can probably handle more than 3 nesting pairs. I want to look into that. I'm going to get, so, and
That would be awesome.
I'd hate to see our symbol eventually go away, so. And then the eagle thing is just because I just think it would be really neat for us to have a bald eagle nest on this lake. And then there's one very close because I see the eagles all the time, but I'd like to see if we could entice them to nest on our lake. Well, that's my pitch. So
Well, thank
don't
you.
know how to go from here. Maybe we, Julie, you and I can set up a joint session, and then we can bring other members in, and who is ever interested on your board, and who's ever interested on my board, and we can kind of get down to sort of a working group thing and start fleshing out the details.
Is anybody here interested in a way of coming into this? I am.
Might be,
I would
yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely be.
Okay, so there's Diane, Mark, me, and then, it would, so we can we'll get together, see what it is, and then give you guys, when's your meetings?
It's coming up like the first Wednesday of the month, but if
So you're-
if you wanna think about it amongst your board, and maybe come to my board next time and do the same thing, and then we can start talking about a working meeting. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Yes, sir, it does.
Okay, so yeah, because I'm kind of out ahead of my board right now on this. I know I got a couple of folks that are interested, but I want to start putting the details around it. So great. Mark, you have my email. I don't think I have Julie's email. If you could pass that on to me, Julia.
Yes, sir.
I'll send it to her. I'll send you Julie's
If you
email.
don't mind, and then we
No,
can
sir, not at
start
all.
communicating directly, and then we'll line up. I'll get you on my agenda next month.
Okay,
Yes,
sir,
sir.
thank you.
Okay, does anybody have any other questions of the water board while I'm here? It's a little frozen right now, I know, but
Mhm.
other than that,
Oh, by the way, the tree was taken out of Malo Beach. It's down and out of the lake and chopped up.
really
Yuppers.
awesome. Okay, well, if that's it, I'm going to get off your meeting. You guys can get back to work, and thank you for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Michael.
How do I get
Nice
off?
meeting you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep, see you soon. Thank you very
Bye-bye.
much. Okay, so then-
Julia,
Yes, ma'am.
your Mitchell Tarango didn't have meeting instructions, I guess. So I just forwarded those over to him. So he should be trying to call in so that he
Oh,
can be
thank you.
interviewed.
Okay, thank you.
You're
so
welcome.
much, Jerry.
No problem.
So we'll just, shall we move on to B then, fitness equipment at Clara Miller, and then we can join him in after that fact, or do you want to wait a few moments, or what's the consensus?
I say go for it.
Yeah, just keep
Okay,
going, and
well
we
then,
can-
Mark, we've talked about the grants and the fitness equipment at Clara Miller. He emailed you guys a whole bunches of what it looks like and its practicalities and stuff. So if Mark wants to take over from there, I checked with people, there's not a whole lot of bad, just read the fine print.
So did everybody get a chance to check out the slides and everything, or?
Yes.
Because, so I'll give you a little background. I was contacted by a village resident in December that this was a possibility, and she was looking at it for her church. And was like, sure, I'll check it out. And so we had a meeting with them. This is the National Fitness Campaign. It's something that's been around for about 40 years. And at that point in that discussion, the man I met with was like, yeah, why do you want to, we would go ahead and do another meeting. And so Julia hopped in on that one along with some of the administrator and the treasurer. And the general idea is, I mean, the core, I think, I'll do a screen share so it's a little bit easier. There we go. And so as I'm talking about, oh, that's not the one I want. Nope. And so, yeah, so this was the one that he went through this whole slide show, and the original one was from the 40s and it was sand and stretching equipment. And now it's modernized a lot more, and they want to do 1,000 in the near future, and they were doing 15 in the state of Michigan with this grant that they did with Priority Health. So Priority Health is sponsoring them. The first one happened at Oakland University a couple of years ago, and that was the kind of their test run. Features are the court, and then of course the app that's that they offer that comes with it that you can then take with you wherever you go as well. So that's part of the goal is, say you're traveling, you can go to any of these fitness courts because they're all the same, and be able to continue your workout or even compete with somebody who lives in California or something like that. So we're kind of looking, we had this strategic planning study with them, and they assessed the area, and they feel that Wolverine Lake would be a good place, Claire Miller Park would be a good place for a one of these courts. And what the whole thing, as you saw, is about 150 grand, and that comes with the court, with the training, because they do train what they call ambassadors and things like that. And then they do a public launch, and so the court is 38 feet by 38 feet, so it's basically the size of a tennis court, the lines of a tennis court within the lines, and it's not a huge thing. The whole idea is 7 minutes, 7 movements. And let me see if there's any notes. Like in terms of what we're looking at now, what we want to do today as a board, or what we want to discuss is, do we want to recommend to council to pursue the grant if it's offered to us? And some of the features of that would be that it's the $50,000 grant from Priority Health, and it would not, there's no financial commitment on our end at that in terms of applying for the grant, just the time it takes to fill out the grant. They did change the deadlines a little bit, so we're better there. It's not due till February 19th. They would be looking to get it put in this year though, if we were selected. So it could be a pretty quick turnaround. And like Julie said, she checked with some of the other sites that have them installed and to get some feedback to see what their experience was. And Julie, I think you and I kind of agreed that it sounds like they're all happy with the court now, and that it was more of just if anything, they just wish they had more detail and clarity as they were going through the process. So, but that's where we're at. And so right now what we were looking to talk about is, do we want to recommend to council that we look into this opportunity further and apply for the grant if we're offered the opportunity, because they are looking for partnerships as opposed to just like simply, you fill out a form and you mail it in. So,
I like the idea as long as, we seem to have the space, and the parking would be a concern. I mean, if it's real popular, I mean, I just don't know how popular it is in these other places. I mean, at the video you looked at, they're real popular, but could be too that they were doing some competition and things. But I mean, it's not going to cost us anything. So why would we not want to?
Well, it may cost us.
well, it wouldn't cost us to apply.
It will cost us to install it and put the parking or the asphalt in, I read, or the concrete.
Or concrete, so yeah.
And then putting it together, we have to pay for that.
So they did modify it when they were looking at our site, and they were recommending of a 50-50, that we would put up 50 and then we would get 50,000 from sponsorship funding, as opposed to what this document shows. And that was a byproduct of their assessment of the area as well. There would be some additional costs as well, because we would have to make sure that we're ADA. put in like a path that connects to it and everything else, because the unit itself is ADA, but that's meaningless if somebody can't ride up to it or walk up to it or however they get to it. I think we have, I mean, in terms of where we would put it, we put it in the main section of Claire Miller Park where like the playground equipment it is. I think that we would have sufficient parking because we have about 140 spaces. I don't think that would be a huge issue for us.
One thing that could be a concern, I mean, I don't have children, but the big thing we were talking about before with the grant, trying to be able to get nicer equipment for the park.
Yes.
I don't know if people would be upset that all of a sudden we're putting exercise equipment in where we could use new slides, new swing sets, new climbers. If it's going to take dollars away from that, that would be one of my major concerns.
Well, yeah, that's one that we were in the conversations we were having. This would be something that we pursue in addition to the DNR grant opportunities. What is that called? The Natural Resources Trust Fund grant. So they said they have no issues if you pursue additional grants to fund this or other things. So it could be something where, because of the scope of the playground equipment and the cost that would entail being quite higher than this would be something that we can do and pursue the grant to fund both this and the playground equipment at the same time.
Well, we already have exercise equipment. So what would happen with that, or this would be in addition to, I guess that's one thing that we should ask ourselves. We already have that stuff.
Yeah, we have something similar. And so I told him that. And so it was not, I said, it seems like a neat thing and it would be and at this point, I think it would be nice to have something on the other end of the park so that when parents are with their kids and their kids are playing, they could work out and things like that as well. As we wrote in the recreation plan, we wanted to have a few more options going along the path and things like that for workout and things like that as well. So this would be, it wouldn't be all along the path, but at least then it would be, you'd have a place to work out both beginning and end of
Does anybody have any idea on how much the equipment that Diane's talking about? I know exactly where it's at, how much it is used. Does anybody know?
Oh yeah, that little place over there off of Glengarry, it's used quite a bit.
Is it?
But it's a little one. It's not major and it's hidden by trees because the other one is over by Claire Miller. There's not going to be a covering. It's going to be hot because that's what the people said. It gets hot and it's not used during the day because of the heat. That was one of the downfalls, but we could also, if we wanted to do something like that to cut the cost and then still go, because I'd like to see more playground equipment also, because we've been trying to do that for a long time. And, the little guy over there on Glengarry, he's not half as much money as this Priority Health one, but, it's just a board decision. If you guys want to pursue it and see, or
Sorry, go ahead.
no, the grant isn't known until the very end of it. So that's what they were saying. One person got a 20,000 when they were expecting a 30,000 grant. So they had 10,000 more that they had to kind of find a home for to pay for it.
No, this is just a warning. This is a different grant than they were pursuing. So
okay.
Just so you're
Yeah,
aware,
there's
because
two
Priority Health is only the 2021 year is exclusively with Priority Health, as opposed to what they were doing before, where it was a little less structured. But again, we do have equipment that does have some similarity. I think this stuff is probably a little more intricate. I think maybe part of the problem is we probably haven't really exploited or maximized the potential of the equipment on the Glengarry side, because it does have you can scan it with your phone and do all that, but I don't know how much use that gets. I do see people using the equipment though, but this seems like it's more of because of the partnership dynamic, that it does create a better promotion scheme to get people to use it, get people involved and things like that.
Well, I noticed that with the equipment, there's some rings and there's some bands.
Mhm.
And I wonder about the longevity and the maintenance of that
That's
material. Is that by the DPW? Would they be maintaining that? Or
Yes.
would that be
There
the
would have to be
partnership?
maintenance.
Yeah, they would.
There would have to be maintenance, especially those steel rings that come out like that. My thought process was scary because I thought, you see these people with their feet up here and they're doing pull-ups and stuff. Well, if it's hot and sweaty and their hands slip, they're gonna fall straight down into the surface. So my thought was liability, but then it's always liability because from that. But it would have to be maintained.
Yeah. Well, I like the app idea. I don't know how many are installed over our country, like where you said you could use it kind of like a health club, you could go somewhere else and still use the app. Do we know that? Like how many are around?
No, I don't. I know Oakland
Like-
University, and there was a couple others, yes, Lennox Township and
Currently, it's operating in 100 cities, colleges across the nation. By the end of 2020, 200 communities across 400 states. So it is, or 40 states, pardon me. So it is still growing. It's still
Yeah.
it's relative
Yeah.
recent stage of development.
Yeah. I guess I don't have an opinion one way or the other. I think looks kind of cool. I do like the idea of having something a little more like that on that end of our parks. Like you said, because right now the equipment that we have is so far removed from like the park area that maybe we would see more people use it. I don't know.
So just to clarify, we have two different grants. I mean, we're not talking about two, but the grant for like the playground equipment is, because that got brought up, isn't gonna be affected whether we go with the priority health one, correct?
Oh, yeah, no, it won't at all. We could pursue as many grants as we want. In fact, we can pursue within just the DNR, the National Resources Trust Fund. There's actually 3 separate grant opportunities within that one alone. And technically you can apply for all 3 if you wanted to. They each have a slightly different purpose and things like that. But yeah, you can pursue that separately and it wouldn't necessarily affect this. But you do have to commit money for both. So that is the one place where it does, because you want to do the match for the resources one, the DNR one. And so that does add up pretty quick if you start to put them all on top of each other and everything else. And I'm certainly hoping we pursue and apply for that grant this year as well. That deadline's in April. So that we can hopefully get some money for things like the playground equipment. But again, we could also incorporate something like this within that grant too for the remaining costs. So it wouldn't necessarily have to be out of pocket.
Well, it doesn't hurt to apply for it.
Doesn't hurt, doesn't cost us anything.
Right. I mean, I say we apply for it and see what happens.
Yeah, that was something we made clear. It's a non-binding application.
Yes.
And if they can redistribute the grant if things go south.
Yeah.
With the
Okay.
applicant.
So I say go for it.
So do we need a motion to,
Yeah, because we would recommend to council that we apply for the National Fitness Campaign Priority Health Grant.
Okay, so shall we call for a motion, please?
I'll put in the motion.
Second,
Roll call, please.
Miller,
Yes.
Nikovich,
Yes.
Long Break,
Yes.
Ingram. Yes. Perico,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Giramini.
Yes.
Okay, well, thank you very much, everyone. And we now have Mitchell here. Good morning, Mitchell. Afternoon. Hi, Mitchell.
Hi.
Mitch. Welcome to the board.
Thank
Anybody
you.
have any questions, or do you have anything you'd like to tell us about yourself?
Yeah, well, first of all, I want to apologize for not coming on sooner. Thought I was going to be getting a Zoom, and that's my apologies with the communication and not viewing the link on the agenda. So I wanted to apologize to everyone for that. So, but yeah, no, I'm really excited. Grew up, went to Walled Lake Central, always lived in the lake in the area. So I'm a member. I'm the secretary at the Walled Lake Masons, the lodge. So I really enjoy helping the community and putting together things to impact it. So I'm really excited and look forward to contributing to the community as I can.
Well, that's awesome. Thank you.
Just, do you prefer Mitchell or Mitch?
Oh, it doesn't matter.
I'm just curious. Okay. I was wondering, will you be able to help out at events and things like that we have throughout the year, especially in a normal year?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, so I my schedule is pretty fluid. I'm a loan officer. So I mean, you know, I make time. I work on my own schedule. So, you know, I definitely want to participate and help I can. And, you know, being part of the Masons, that's one thing that you know, we, you know, motivate or I guess encourage our members to do there too. So I know how important the participation part of aspect of it is too. So definitely will.
Anybody else? Any questions? Thank you for coming. And we, then you will go to, Mark, if I'm not mistaken, he'll go to the council and
Yeah, we vote to accept him as a member, and then he will go to council, and council will officially approve him. Normal year, he would go to a council meeting and get sworn in. That doesn't happen anymore. So I think what will happen is once we approve Mitchell here, the council will still vote and approve him as well, but he'll be sworn in at the village hall just at a random time instead of, you know, on camera, because COVID's made everything fun and weird. So, yeah, I had to too for council, and I got, instead of being all official, it was just standing there with a couple people with Tabitha swearing me in. So yeah, I'll make the motion that we accept. How do you say your last name, Mitchell? Tarango?
Yep.
Okay, that we accept Mitchell Tarango as a member of the Board of Parks and Recreation.
I'll second it.
All righty, should we have a roll call? I think everybody's going to say aye.
All right, roll call vote. Miller,
Yes.
Breakovich,
Yes.
Long Break,
Yes.
Ingram,
Yes.
Jericho,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Jeremy.
Yes.
Welcome to the board.
Woohoo!
Woohoo!
God, love it.
Good job.
Everybody enjoyed the Parks and Rec board.
Awesome. I'm excited.
So are we.
Good
Thank
to
you
have
very
you.
much.
Thank you.
We're going to be setting the agenda tonight too of all the events and stuff for the year. So you'll kind of have a heads up on that too. But
Awesome.
Yep. Thank you very much. And now, anything else there? We'll move on to C. Pickleball ordinance discussion. I know I brought this up the last time. I think it was probably in November. We need to have an ordinance established. The pickleball courts are there at Waukito across from a lady's house. She's a senior citizen. She's also a handicapped lady. And there's about 20 houses involved with the noise level. It is not a quiet game, especially when they're at 5:36 in the morning. And I called to many, many places today, and their hours all for any of their recreation areas start at 8. So I don't feel we're doing anything. I'd like to have an ordinance for the hours to be extended from 8 in the morning until like either sunset or dusk, whichever you would prefer. Because a lot of those people there, there's 20 houses, some of them don't have air conditioning, and it is a very loud noise, and they bring their kids or their dogs are out there with them. And I have been there to see this. So I would like an ordinance passed because it's a noise ordinance as far as I can see. So I need your help to put it to council to make an ordinance. So if the policemen are called, they have to respond, because at this point they don't have to, and didn't.
Because as you guys will recall, we did pass and change the hours to 8 a.m. and sign was put up on the courts and nothing changed. And so that was the first step. That's what the chief recommended. And he said, don't go to an ordinance unless you need it. And so obviously we need it because folks aren't respecting the people in the area, and it's a quality of life issue for those folks. So.
And if not, I'd like to also have a part B added to that, that if this is not going to be followed well, that we need to have a lock placed on. The DPW will go and open it up at 8, and I don't care if I have to go back and close it at dusk. The main thing is that those people there will be very happy that they can sleep in until 8 o'clock.
Well, I don't think that's unreasonable at all. So are we just trying to set the ordinance then?
Yes,
Take it to
ma'am.
council, set the ordinance, okay.
So they can set up an ordinance, and if they don't want to set up an ordinance or a part B in case it's a fail safe and we don't have to come back at council again, I'd like to also have option B to have a padlock with a lock placed on that can be opened at 8.
Well, have we ever had a padlock on there for tennis?
No, not that I know of.
Oh, then I don't think we should be padlocking it, because
Okay.
people might want to play tennis.
Not at
Well,
6 in
I
the
think
morning, though.
setting the ordinance at 8 o'clock, and that way, if the court is officially open at 8 o'clock, even if the doors are open, you should use it. That at least then gives the residents in the area a recourse, and that is they can
Yes.
call the police, and the police can come out and do have a method. They could actually have something they can enforce, and that was the current problem. They have nothing they can enforce because it's not technically a noise violation or anything like that, even though it is a noisy game. But yeah, I know they've received quite a few complaints, and as they all said, it's not a problem of them playing it. It's just a problem with them playing it at 6 in the morning.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's pretty early.
Yeah.
Who gets up at 6 in the morning to play pickleball?
People who come from Florida during the summer.
Well, I complain about the,
violate this rule.
I live next to the launch, so I complain about the fishermen who come out at 5:30 sometimes.
Well, that's different, Mark.
I get it though. I
You
get
gotta
it.
get
Yeah.
in the water at
Oh, I
sunrise.
understand that though. Yeah.
I kind of agree with Diane. I don't think we need a padlock because number one, that's one more job for someone to come to lock and unlock every day. And I just think this just gives, us a chance to enforce it if it's a rule.
Yeah.
I agree with
I
Diane.
think
We need a padlock.
one visit from the
One more
police,
thing.
because it's the same people doing it too. So if one visit from an officer saying you are in violation of an ordinance, and I can, whatever they can then do, that I think will have a big effect or a more significant effect than just the sign that we had put up before.
So on the sign, could it say village ordinance, 8 o'clock till sundown? To let them know that there is an ordinance, or is it just gonna, it doesn't matter, whatever council
I mean, yeah,
decides.
we can then have another sign potentially created, but yeah, the key here is just to get the ordinance passed or
Okay.
motioned to council.
Well, you just made 20 senior citizens very happy. And then there's only one other thing I'd like to see, is a sign, if possible, put up on the court side of Waukito. And I sent you guys pictures of Barb's house. The parking lot is six cars long this way, but they're still parking on the side of Waukito. She cannot get out of her driveway. She's asked many times for people to move their car, and they say they don't have to. She's a handicapped lady. She needs to be able to get out of her driveway, and they're blocking her driveway.
I
So
don't
need to know
understand
that.
when you say they're blocking.
Yeah,
You
I
mean
don't
they're
either.
parking in front of her
They're
driveway?
parking along Waukito on the side of
Tennis court.
the
path.
tennis courts.
Yeah.
They're on that side. So when she goes to back out, she's got a handicap van, and I don't feel they should, when there's 6 parking spots over here, they don't need to be parking the length of the road also. Because they're also parking out on Roseland, which nobody's complaining about that yet either. but
Because at my house, like when I back out of my driveway, I mean, this happened to me once. Somebody parked behind my driveway and nobody usually does. And I backed right into the car.
right, yeah.
Like, oh my God, I think I just hit a car. So that kind of scenario, right? You're backing up and there's a car back there.
Yes, ma'am. And it's almost a car in front of that and a car in front of, in back of the other one, because that handicap van needs room to turn, to come out of her driveway.
Yeah, that's a tough one right there. I don't know
I
what to
don't know, I was
say
just
about
bringing
that.
it forward because they brought it to me and I bring it to you to see what we can do to make council maybe, I don't know.
And you discussed this with the chief though, too, didn't you, Laura?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, so
And he
he's
said that
aware.
we just need to make a recommendation as to, and also as to why we want it done. And then it's up to the council and the lawyer, our lawyer, to pull the ordinances out and to enforce them with the police.
I'm wondering if we could put like a no parking from, like you can't, like with a fire hydrant, if we can have like so many feet that would give her enough. And so if these people want to parallel park to the court, they can, but give her enough room either.
That would be nice, something.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why we couldn't put a couple signs up, no parking, like.
From here to here.
Yes.
That would be nice for Barb. I mean, I don't even know if an emergency vehicle could get in there. I guess they could, they would, they'd have to.
Just go on the sidewalk.
So anyway, okay, so that's what you got. So can we make a motion for that? The council can possibly do no parking signs between, I don't know, end of the tennis courts and, or like what, 50 feet in front and 50 feet in back of her driveway?
But we have to make, is that 2 motions? 'Cause
Yes,
we-
that is 2.
Okay.
Well, I think what I've seen before is like in cities, it'll say like no parking between signs or something like that.
Okay, that would be great if we could put that into council also. That would help Barb and an emergency situation or,
Do we need to be specific on what that sign says or no?
well, no parking between signs I would hope that everyone can,
Well, that's what my question is. Do we need to be specific right now what we're voting on? Or are we just recommending that they adopt the ordinance and then that can come later?
We could recommend that we adopt they adopt the ordinance, and that would be one. And then for the other one, we could recommend, parking sign installed. And we could leave it to, we could recommend that it be in consultation with Chief Ellsworth.
Yes,
right,
Okay.
yes, he
He's
was
the
very
one who-
instrumental.
He's
right.
the one who's gonna put the sign or be in
Exactly,
charge of
right.
it anyways.
Yeah, he was very helpful
Okay.
with this when I talked with him.
Okay, that makes sense to me.
So this isn't just me. I talked with Chief Ellsworth and he was the one that kind of spurred me along to bring it to you guys.
Okay,
Okay, so do you want to read the motions back and then we can vote on it? The one was, Mark already said both of them very nicely. Yes, you did. To pose it to council to make an ordinance to change the hours from on the sign 8 to either dusk or sundown, whichever.
The current hours of the park are technically are 7 a.m. to an hour and a half after dusk. So I would just suggest that we so technically speaking, when they were out there at 6 a.m., really, I think that was an issue, but we would make it, I would argue, I think that the motion should state that the hours of the tennis courts are from 8 a.m. to a half hour after dusk.
Okay,
So that we maintain the same end date for the park and all of it, but the opening time for the tennis courts is just pushed back.
okay, is there any seconds?
Second,
I'll second it.
Okay, do we need a roll call?
Miller,
Yes, ma'am.
Breakovich,
Yes,
Long Break,
Yes,
Ingram. Yes. Carico,
Yes.
Clark,
yes.
Jeremini.
Yes.
Okay, and then Mark made a second motion, or everyone for the signs to put no parking between at the discretion of Chief Ellsworth, I guess, is that
On
it?
Wakito,
Yes,
do
court side,
we know the address of the house?
No, I do not.
Okay.
I'll get it. I'll
It's
pull
the
it up.
corner
real quick.
right there, the corner house at Waukito and Woodlawn. And then there's the tennis court in the field, and then there's the rest of the houses on
Because that was
Woodlawn.
just, that way we can be very specific that it's for this, because of this specific, the situation for this specific resident and any
I
resident.
can pull it up real quick.
Julia, is that the only house in that area? Like, we're not gonna have other neighbors coming back saying, well, I don't want them to be able to park either.
No, ma'am.
I'm
that's
not
the-
familiar with the area.
Right, that's the only house on Waukito, because then there's 6 parking spots, and then there's Roselawn. And people are parking on Roselawn to use the courts, but nobody said anything about that. It's just this one lady who can't get out of her driveway, and it's about the residents who hear the pickleball at 5:30 and 6 in the morning. That's why I brought it to the board's attention. So she's the only house. Nobody else would be asking for anything.
Byproduct
What's
of-
her name, Julia? Her last name? Do you know?
Yes, I do. It just went right in and out.
It's a byproduct, this is all a byproduct of when Waukito was
Ashley.
abandoned.
I can call my mother-in-law and she can tell me her last name.
Well, that's okay.
Barb,
What's,
oh, darn, I just came in again.
that's
and went
okay.
out.
What street is it on?
It's on Waukito and Woodlawn, right there at the corner of
How do you spell Waukito?
Wakito. And that's right there at the corner of Woodlawn and Waukito. And then if you cross the street, it's
Is it
Waukito
O'Hara?
Roofing.
Is it O'Hara?
O'Hara?
No,
No.
no, it's not O'Hara. I've got to think.
It's 25, oh no, it says, okay, so the address of the house is technically 2509 Woodlawn.
Yes.
Oh, Woodlawn. Okay.
Boom, I love that I just beat a real estate agent to finding an address. I'm just gonna,
Pulling it
brag
up
about that
on
for a
my
second.
app.
I just looked it up on Zillow.
Well,
but,
thank goodness for Mark.
thank you.
Thank you guys.
a
Yeah.
house on 2509 Woodlawn, whose garage is in driveway
Oh,
is facing
Waukito.
Waukito. And it's the only house that is operates like that. There is a neighboring home, but that home does not have a garage like that. That was why when the village abandoned Waukito, they were not able to abandon and then pave the whole street like that, because there is a house that's their egress. So it's, yeah, that's the house. And we would do it we would have a no parking sign put in with, with the advisement of Chief Ellsworth.
Well, sorry it was so drawn out, but thank you guys for, you're going to make 20 senior citizens, especially the one that's handicapped, very, very happy.
We didn't vote on it.
Okay,
We
so
need to
should
vote
we
on
have
it.
a vote?
We need a second.
Oh, second?
I'll second. Long break.
Roll call vote, Miller,
Yes.
Breakovich,
yes.
Long Break,
Yes.
Ingram,
Yes.
Carrico,
Yes.
Clark,
Yep.
Jermini.
Yes.
Okay, thank you guys. I really appreciate it. Sorry it was so long and drawn out. Now we can move on to the 2021 events that, and I was just curious if we could post these on the newsletter, because it's going out January 22nd, the dates, so they can be in the newsletter to go out to the village and they can kind of catch a glimpse of what's happening.
Makes sense.
Should be.
So how about the St. Patrick's bus trip?
Well, I talked to Blankenships and we won't do a bus trip, but we are going to, I'm thinking we'll go ahead and do we will do like a leprechaun hunt for in the village. So don't ask me anything more than that. So I guess the question is, do we want to have it on St. Patty's Day, which is a Wednesday? Or should we do it the Friday or Saturday before that like we normally do? Does anybody have an opinion?
Well, is there gonna be a time frame? Cause like if people are at work, are they gonna be able to do it? I don't know how the,
Well, it would be in the evening like we normally have it, but I'm thinking probably it would make more sense to do it either that Friday or Saturday. I think I usually have it on a Saturday. I can't remember. I have to look.
I think Wednesday would be a terrible day to And it's a rough day. That's gonna
Yeah.
be, there's gonna be a lot of miserable people on Thursday, so.
Yeah. Well, then let's do it on the 13th on a Saturday,
13th of
March. And it will be a village scavenger hunt.
Is it gonna
Leprechaun
be-
hunt. I'm sorry, leprechaun. I'll figure out the wording for it, but a leprechaun hunt.
Okay, is it gonna
Because
be?
I have the leprechauns all made from last year.
Aw,
I mean, I don't really have a lot to do other than hide them somewhere.
So Julie, you're gonna have to get with Diane if you want wording in the newsletter.
well, yeah, well, even just the date and what the basics are is for the newsletter, just to let people know that on that date, is there going to be a limited number or?
We don't need a limited number because it's not a bus trip this year.
Okay, so it's unlimited.
So
Okay,
we can
good.
just,
Are there any COVID restrictions here or?
well, it'll be, it will be no touch. So you're just going to be driving around the village looking for hidden leprechauns with clues that we give you.
Okay.
So we will be having food, and I talked to Blankenship. So one of the clues will lead them to the Glengarry, where they will go in and get their meal.
Okay.
And I have to take a picture with them inside the Glengarry, and I'll probably have a leprechaun in there drinking beer or something.
Ooh, I wanna.
The Glengarry
Okay,
may
they're
have tents
top-
by then too, so.
What, Mark?
The Glengarry may have tents up by then because there is a grant that we are getting that will get them some propane heaters and stuff like that. And
Yeah, she said she's hoping that to be open by then.
Yeah.
And she's getting the plexiglass
okay.
is coming in too. So anyway, so it won't be called the bus trip, but it's on.
Okay, is there any kind of possible cost you know of or no?
Yes, there will be a cost because we'll have prizes, and
Okay.
I don't know what that's going to be. Probably the meal's going to be $10, $12.
Okay,
I already got the leprechaun, so there's not a cost for that, but there'll be a cost for some prizes, so it'll be minimal.
okay, and they don't have to pre-register at the village, they'll just,
I'm sorry, what, Julia?
they'll pre-register at the village?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
All righty.
So I know we want it for the newsletter, but are we gonna have to get a flyer out soon? Will February be too late?
No, January 22nd, the newsletter's going out.
But
I think we'll be fine because usually I'm so burnt out with Snacks with Santa that I don't even think about this till, like now.
I know it's just like, well, February's in what, less than 10 days, so.
Usually though, Lori, they don't even make their reservations for the bus trips till like March. It's like not to the last, we don't get real busy till March comes along. So I mean, I'll get working on it right away, but I'm not too worried about it.
No, good job, your Santa was awesome. Okay, then how about the Easter Bunny lunch? Anybody we got Clara Miller we can use if no Richardson Center, at least for hiding eggs. And we have that little cabana thing too, we'd always do the Easter Bunny and decorate it, just like Diane did with Santa.
That was cute.
That was awesome.
I thought we did a good
So-
job with that.
I thought it worked. I thought Santa was really good.
Yeah.
I think we could do it, but if we do it normally. So Easter's April 4th this year. And usually we do it the week before. So the question I guess then is, whatever that is, something in March. Is it going to be weather issues, or do we want to just do something similar? Do we want to have, so it'd be like the 27th. Do we want to have something, I was going to say, do we want to have an Easter egg hunt, but we really can't do a true Easter egg hunt with COVID. But yeah, we could do something like an Easter Bunny drive-through kind of thing again.
Can we do like decorate, everybody bring like an egg to a tree and put a decoration on a tree?
Like have like, I don't know, like a bag of candy at the different decorated egg tree, you mean, or?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just kind of throwing out some ideas, like instead of I don't know, an egg hunt. You put something in a tree. I don't know. Or they decorate a tree, bring an egg that they can decorate a tree with. I don't know. Is that stupid? That's probably stupid.
No, it's not stupid. We need some ideas for,
Well, I mean, it's so close to the leprechaun, but could we do like an egg hunt where you have the clues, you have to find the different eggs around the village, with the last one ending up at Clara Miller, where the bunny would be?
But you're talking children too, so
Yeah,
the
yeah,
parents
yeah.
or the kids, isn't this supposed to be more for the children?
But didn't Mark say we couldn't have a traditional egg hunt? I was trying to think of.
Can we send them a little secret egg? You know how we did the snacks or the letters from Santa?
yeah.
I mean, could we do like a little secret egg or something like that? They would register and we would send them a secret egg? I don't know. That
And
might
then
be
we have a
costly
drive-through
because it's not
bunny?
just a letter.
Well, if we did that, then they could still have the drive-through Easter bunny and let them
Mhm.
have just little packaged snacks from the Easter bunny. I don't know if.
Well,
may
we
not
didn't
even
do
have
snack. We
stuff
didn't do
anymore.
snacks, remember? Because it
Right.
was Ellsworth said that was high touch and
That's true. Okay.
so, but what if you had Easter Bunny come to their house? Like, what if we did instead of like having a drive through, you had a visit from the Easter Bunny hopping by their house or something?
My 4-year-old really enjoyed the Santa drive-by.
Oh,
good.
good. Oh, that's
I
good.
feel like we might run into like timing issues if there's only one Easter bunny trying to make it to how many kids around the village, and if
Yeah.
they don't come out on time and you're like trying to rush to get to the next one. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And don't forget, anything in the
That's kind of
park,
funny.
the bathrooms probably won't be done or open at that time. So we can always rent a Porto, but we don't, the bathrooms probably will not be finished because right now they're gutted. So we could do though, again, the drive-by Easter bunny. We
Well,
may
I think
more-
that's a good
there may
possibility.
be, and there may be some, by then, it may be a little, depending on where the chief feels, a little more leeway,
Mm-hmm.
how we operate and things like that as well.
Yeah, because we had quite a bit. We had about 20 some
If
cars.
if
at
the weather was
Santa.
good,
Yeah, well.
and we had like a convertible, you could do the Easter bunny like caravan something through the village or something. But I think that would be too.
Oh,
rugged.
that would be fun.
We're just driving around in somebody's golf cart.
So for
But-
the, when you did the snacks with Santa, you were not allowed to give the children anything? You couldn't touch anything?
No.
So it'd be neat if you could get one of those big like plastic eggs and put like a little coloring book or something and candy in it, but that limits that.
But I mean, if like we pre-package whatever we were gonna give them, we'll just say the egg, and we do it a week in advance, the chance that, of course, but we'd have to have some place where each drive-by could pick up the egg so that we're not
No, we
walking
could
it out to
we
them.
could do it with gloves on. I mean, if we're sanitized and we had the gloves, we could hand it to them without them touching a big amount. It'd be
No, because Chief told me to do that. If you're getting within 6 feet of the car, you have to have that form filled out. So you have to get everybody's name that's in the car. You have to get their email address, their phone number. It's for contact tracing. So that's why we didn't hand anything out. Because if somebody else that's not registered happens to be in the car, now you got to get their information.
But we could have like a stand where the supposedly egg, whatever, was, and then nobody's standing by it, they would just pick it up at that location by where they're driving by.
Yeah, but then you have a
somebody.
lot of people touching stuff. You know, you have
Yes.
multiple
Oh.
people touching things. I don't think the
Yeah.
handout thing is a good idea right now.
I know.
Unless
That's
something
what you're
changes
saying.
between now and. But you could talk to the chief about it.
So should we kind of set a date and then let's show that something will possibly, maybe a drive-through Easter, just to have something on the books?
I agree with that. I think that's awesome.
Okay, and then just to show the village residents, there's something as of yet, just keep watching the newsletter and stuff, or the signs or
Mhm.
Email.
emails. Okay, so then do we want to do it, Easter's the 4th, do you want to do it the weekend prior?
Yes.
Okay. And does somebody want to do this or?
I'm
take care of
doing,
this, or do you
I'm
want me to
doing the
just-
leprechaun hunt, so I'm out on that one.
I'm
I
out
mean,
of
I'll help,
town.
obviously.
I'm out of town, so.
You're out of town? Okay, well, I can
Hopefully.
decorate.
Yeah.
I can decorate whatever date it is and, just like Diane did and have the Easter bunny. And then I don't know if you want other little bunny-ettes running around or whatever, but, little hopperoos. But so we'll pick a date, we'll put it in, and then it's just drive through Easter bunny, and then we'll go from there. At least they have something now and a time frame. What do we have? Didn't we have? We had 12 to 3, wasn't it?
We had 1 to 3.
1 to 3.
Right.
Okay, so
1
you
to
want to
3.
make it the weekend before then, 1 to 3 Easter bunny drive through. And
Yeah.
then what date would that be, Mark?
March 27th?
20. Yeah.
March
Yeah, March
27th,
27th.
okay. Okay, and we've got some stuff down there. And I'll go down and see what we got, and then we'll just decorate it the way we did for Santa and have the drive-through, and it's what it is this year. At least we're doing something. So, okay, how about Easter Market?
Cancel. I mean, we
Oh,
have to pay
okay.
for our own bus trips now. We don't have the grant anymore, and I don't know how many people are gonna want to go on a bus
Okay,
Right.
and pay $20 to go on that bus. So I think bus trips are kind of, unfortunately, unless people want to do like a drive down and then meet, but I think it's just better for us to avoid all that kind of mess
Mhm.
for this year.
so then possibly the zoo trip canceled too then, because without
Zoo
the
trip,
bus and the
yeah,
grants.
Zoo Trip was a RAP grant, and if, I don't know what RAP is offering this year for, in that component, but I have not heard anything about a bus, so that would also go to the wayside.
Okay, so we can cancel that one. Does anybody have anything that they, other things, be thinking of things you might want to put in here? So then we'll go to Tuesdays in the park. I've got the Oakland County form to fit for 2 days for the kind of event we want, like the last time we had the big blow up jumper thing, and the kids really liked it, and then we had the snow cones.
Yeah, but can you do that? I mean, are we
Well,
allowed?
they did, and it was during COVID, it was this past summer of 20.
Yeah, we didn't do
Yeah,
snow
the
cones, but
restriction.
we,
We gave out popsicles.
Oh, I'm sorry, we gave out popsicles.
Oakland County had it all set up, and so they had 6 feet apart, hand sanitizer at the beginning. This was approved by the Oakland County Health Department in
I thought they changed
consultation.
that then.
So,
Pardon me?
Strict again, I thought.
so they were fine with it, and they said it was low risk, or they only things they offered, because they revamped it, were ones that were approved. Now, there are other options than just the obstacle course that we can go with, or at least there were. And it might be, I would rather go with something else, just because I think the obstacle course really appealed to like 6 and up, 7 and up, and age kids. And so you lose a lot of the kids that can do that thing. But we can pick out what we want to use based on what's available of the various things they offer.
Yeah, we wouldn't have to go with the bouncies. They have
Yeah.
another one, which
They
is
got all
like
kinds.
shoot the arrows and that kind of stuff. That would require hand sanitizer, but it would also be social distancing with that one. But I just needed 2 dates to put in for it so that we can have the dates, and we've already,
We usually do them in the 3rd Tuesday of the month, whatever months we do. It doesn't have to be, but
Okay, so do you want to make the third Tuesday of May and June? Or June and July?
It's June and July, right?
June and July, we usually do.
I'd say after the school year.
Yeah, so like
Okay.
June 21st and July 19th.
21 and July 19th, okay.
My June 21st is a Monday. Didn't you say a
Oh,
Tuesday?
I'm sorry.
Tuesdays,
Thank you for, I'm thinking meetings. My brain's all June 22nd and July 20th.
July 20th, okay.
Thank you, Kathy.
You're welcome.
Because there's never a cost for that, and then, okay, so those, and then are we gonna have like one other Tuesday in the park? Well, there's nothing, that's just once. I think we had
They have like a nature thing, but I don't know what they're offering. I don't know how many days they're gonna provide this year.
they will provide twice, and that's
Okay.
it.
Okay, then.
So if we had it,
we'll book.
we'd have to provide something for the other Tuesdays.
I would avoid that this year because we don't know what we've got
Okay.
available.
All right, and that also will be pre-registered at the village, yes?
No, usually
No,
that's
they
just
come and go.
whoever shows up. Yeah, that's,
Okay,
they
so
just
what
come
did
and
you
play.
want the time frame to be for that?
They're usually 6:30 to,
8:30, isn't it?
no, we usually, that's a little late. Usually I think we do it.
At
Well,
5
We
or
can figure out,
something.
we can figure out the time later if we want, but I think it's usually we try to push it back to like 5:30 to 7:30
Yeah.
because we were trying
I
to
think
help.
that's what it
before-
was, because I come straight
Yeah.
from work.
Yeah, because we were having the issues, like we were trying to do it
Yeah,
so that food trucks
okay.
would have a better time too in getting people to actually eat.
Okay, then we'll go 5:30 to 7:30, 6:22 and 7:20.
now, didn't we talk about, cause it's not on here. Like we wanted to do something for either the 4th or Memorial Day, like a bike parade or something we talked about. I don't know if that was pre-COVID or,
Well, we could still have a bike parade. It's, you could do 6 feet in between
Yeah, I
bicycles.
think, I know that there are certain subdivisions that do them. And so we were kind of talking about it, but I don't think we
Yeah,
ever.
Kelly did say something. Her subdivision has something like that already. Okay, so we will move summer, fall garage sales. Do we have any dates or everybody want to still follow through with this?
It's not a lot of work for us. I mean, overall, I think it would be pretty, I mean, I'm assuming people are gonna want to have garage sales. And we usually do one in August. And we could also do one if we want to in May. I'm guessing there were fewer garage sales last year. So people may have more stuff to get rid of or treasures to sell, depending on how you
I
think.
know one thing, there's sure a lot of people at Salvation Army. Those lines from the time they open go there all the way down to what used to be Rudy's Pancake House.
So yeah, we could, do we want to do, I guess, we usually do one in August. And then do we want to do one in May as well, or?
No, just one, I think.
So
Okay,
you want to make it in August just before school in the summertime?
usually we do it like
It'd be for a weekend,
is
right?
that
It's
usually
usually
the
the-
first weekend?
usually it's like the first weekend, because I think that's the national garage sale weekend kind of thing.
Oh, really? Let me
There's
see.
something, like, there's actually one where you can like travel along from like town to town kind of thing where they connect. We're not connected to that, but
We could.
I think it's, we're geographically off where they are, but yeah. So like usually we do it Thursday, Fridays. Is it Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or Thursday, Friday, Saturday? I don't remember.
Thursday, I say Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be Thursday, Friday, Saturday. That's what we
Seven?
usually do. So
So what would the dates be in August then? The one, three,
Fifth, sixth, or seventh,
pardon me?
yeah,
5th, 6th, and 7th.
yep.
August, okay. Okay. Alrighty, how about fishing contest number 7?
Mm,
Are we going to try and go for it this year, being it was kiboshed?
We canceled it last year for COVID reasons, and also but we can certainly do it. It's just a matter of scheduling it and then.
We
getting
may not
everything
have
together.
COVID by then with everybody has to get
It's,
those.
I think there will be, I mean, hopefully we can schedule it and then if it's not one of those ones where you know, you do a lot of collecting and everything else beforehand. So even if for some reason the world changes again, we can always cancel it kind of thing, but we can get it on the books if we want so that it's on there and scheduled, and we can start talking to people about it and stuff like that and getting things booked for it that we do need, like way stations and otherwise. I assume that's, I mean, I guess I should talk to the chief about it a little bit in terms of, because you're going to violate social distancing when you weigh a fish a little bit. I don't think it's a huge thing, but I don't think fish are carriers. But we can go ahead and schedule it, and then
And we can always cancel it, but at least
Right.
it's something to show we're still
so,
trying to move forward in this.
right. So we usually do it in August. I don't know if we want to move that date at all.
I say we keep it in August.
Yeah,
The second weekend in August.
Is it usually? I don't remember. That
It's
would be
usually
fine.
the third or the fourth, and it's almost always the weekend that they spray for weeds, which does mess up fishing because I
Right.
love
Yeah, I
that.
remember. Now the year I did it, I made sure that they sprayed the week afterward, because if you just go to the water board, they'll take care of, they'll move the guy around. But we can push it back so it's like the 14th.
That's great.
8/14, August 14th, okay.
That gives plenty of time if there are prizes to get them, and then
And time
avoid them
schedules.
for usually we would give them out at the corn roast. I mean, again, we're in this little limbo, but yeah.
Now, is there a time that starts from? Because I know it goes through. I work the bench measuring fish, but I don't.
Yeah, usually we started at, usually officially it starts at 6 and ends like, I think at 11.
That's what I
But
thought, yeah.
people show up at 5:30. I remember I was out there at 5, and I think the first boat showed up at about 5:30. It's not like we're a professional operation here with strict start and stop times. I mean,
He's.
yeah, get out the taser and stuff and make sure people are abiding.
Okay, so, and then we can also see if the little fishing shop there on Benstein wants to
Yeah,
be a
the-
part of still
See what
with,
the bait shop would like to do, if anything. Again, I'm certain they've
Yeah.
had a
okay.
rough few months, several months.
And
But
then our,
they were awesome last time, so I'm certain at the very least they'd be happy to do like collect. There we
yeah.
go.
Look at his little shirt.
There you go. Now we're talking.
All right.
I'm certain the bait shop though would be happy to at least
Oh,
collect
yes.
entries and stuff like that, like they did last time. So we got quite a few entries because people were signing up when they were there. So
Yeah, I think they will, because I stopped in this past summer to get some stuff to take up to the UP, and they were really disappointed that we didn't have it.
yeah,
So I think they'll be on board with it.
Good. Okay, and now our famous corn roast.
we got the band and stuff booked for that for, it would be September 11th, because that would be the week after Labor Day, like usual. So
Okay, so what's the date? And do we just have the date set? By then we may not have to
September,
worry
yeah.
about social distancing.
September 11th would be the date.
Okay,
That's the week after Labor Day, like usual. Band is scheduled already because we carried them over from 2020. We have the reserve for the petting zoo technically, so we can use them too if that works. Again, everything is, we've got some cushion on the big commitment of it, but it'll be, a lot of it will depend on where we're at in terms of what's permitted and so forth with public gatherings and things like that. But I'd like to have it.
In theory, we should all be vaccinated. by
Yeah, I know. By then we should all be good to
well,
go.
if nothing else, we could have trucks, all kinds of trucks. We don't do any food.
We can have, the band, we can have cars, we can have a lot of, again, I think this is the year to avoid bounce houses and stuff like that, just because they feel like petri dishes in a good year. But I think there's still a lot we can do for sure.
Well, it's still a ways off, and maybe we can make a big shebang of it.
Yeah, we'll figure something out. I think that's the way to look at it. We
Okay,
got our date set at least, so.
alrighty, then holiday decorating contest. That was just Christmas, right?
So we don't
Yes.
really need to schedule a date.
And Halloween and Christmas. I'd like
Yeah.
to some year in the future, guys, get a haunted forest. We have the places to do it. it takes a lot of work and planning, but it's a good money raiser, and it's also, well, with COVID anyway, but, okay, so Halloween, and is Lori are you still going to, or does anybody else want to try, or,
I think Lori does a great job with that.
okay?
Well,
You don't
year-over-year
have to have
growth.
dates, yeah, we'll just say, you know, everybody should know Halloween is
Yeah.
around Halloween time.
Have you heard of these holidays? Yeah.
Okay, so Halloween and Christmas. Okay, so then we'll move to snacks with Santa.
So I'll have to talk to Sam. But I liked it a little earlier this year.
Okay.
I don't know. I guess it's going to depend if things open up, we can go back to the Richardson Center, or if it's not, you know, we can set the date, but I have to check with Sam.
Okay, check with Sam, because we've got time. I mean, the next meeting, we can set the date for that.
Okay.
So Diane, you're saying early, you mean you'd like to have it earlier?
No,
in
we
December?
had it a week earlier than we usually do, and I liked it better
Okay.
a little bit earlier.
So like it would be like the 4th of December.
Yeah, it's like the 4th instead of the 11th,
Okay.
Okay,
which the 4th probably makes sense if we can,
you're right.
if I can book Sam. So I'll give him a call.
Okay, and then we can always book the Richardson Center. If not, then Diane, you had such a great thing at that podium thing. It went, loved Dancing at the Road.
That was fun.
Okay, so we got that. How about letters to Santa? Is your friend going to still?
Oh yeah, I have so many people that want to volunteer for that. We're good with Santa letters.
Okay. Alrighty, so then we go new and additional events. Anybody have anything that they want to possibly? What I'd like to ask is, I've checked with the post office, they're still getting back with me. Once a month, or at least during the summer, or when I would like to see maybe a canned food drive that the village would call in and say, I have canned goods, and go pick them up and take them to and I will do this because it's something I firmly believe in. I had to pick up everybody's goodies or a box at the village that they could drop them off at and get them over to the pantry there in Walled Lake for a food drive. Or if nothing else, and that's not a go, I was wondering if at our events, say I made up a couple wine baskets like we did at the corn roast and stuff, if they bought a ticket, if they brought a canned good, they'd get a ticket, and then that many tickets would go in and someone would win the basket where we get canned food. It's just, I'm throwing it out there because I believe in it strongly.
I don't think it'd be a bad idea to have like any kind of, especially bring a canned good or something to any event that you attend of the village. I think that the corn roast, that'd be a cool thing to do.
That would be a nice place, yes. Or
Well, that would be cool. Like if you bring a can, you get a ticket for the raffle.
Mhm. Yes.
You know, drop
And then
off
there
a
would be
can
something
and
there.
you get a raffle ticket or something like that.
Or near
If we do
corn.
that.
Julie, are you talking about the canned goods for like the hospitality house? Is that what you're talking about?
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Or like shampoo, because they'll take shampoo also. They'll
I
take.
mean, that's what you
toothbrushes.
meant as a recipient was hospitality house.
Pardon me?
What you meant as a recipient was hospitality house, who would get the goods.
Right, yes, ma'am. It's out there in Walled Lake.
Yeah.
I know, right,
Good
was-
on people.
Okay, because I'll make up a basket and I'll donate it, and then tickets can go, and then all the canned goods can go to hospitality house. I mean, it's not a lot, but it's something.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you for that.
I like the idea of doing it at the corn roast if we have it, yeah.
Yep, well, thank you. Okay, now we go on to working business, Veterans Memorial.
Can we back up
Yes,
to
ma'am.
events? Previously, I did the DIA.
Oh, okay.
So if DIA is back, because they provided the busing, so, you know, I'll check with them, you know, in a
Okay,
couple of months and see if that's opened up, and then we can always jump in and add that.
okay, thank you. I'll put that down here as okay.
Yeah, anything where we can get a free bus.
Right.
If you want to
Right.
do it, then it's a bit different. It's just a matter of, I don't think we're going to be able to cover the cost of
Yeah.
First of all, I have a feeling most buses would require some kind of spacing between seats and all that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
And that would, $50 a ticket to go to Eastern Market or something, I think would be a little steep for most people.
Am I able to add something?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Sure.
Yeah. So just something that we did at the Masonic Lodge, we did a blood drive with the Red Cross. They brought all the equipment, brought everything. We had to have like 6 to 7 different volunteers, and it was great. I mean, the Red Cross, they did a lot of the advertising also. So, you know, I mean, we had like 40 people come out throughout. We did it for 3 days. So, I mean, 80 people came between each through the total event. Or no, it would have been 120. So I don't know if that's something we have access to space to do something like that, but just a thought and wanted to throw it out there.
Well, maybe at the Richardson Center, might be a possibility, but they're pretty during the week. It would probably have to be on a weekend.
We could get with the Red Cross and find out what kind of dates they have open. And then maybe COVID will be done and we could do that at a Richardson Center.
They can do it on a weekend. Our church does it on a Sunday morning. So I mean, they do weekends.
So do we. Same at our church.
We could find out what they require, the Red Cross requires in terms of space and other things.
I
And then,
thought they had their own bus. They just pulled in and parked, and everybody went through the bus and circled out.
Right. So all we did was they just needed the space. So they just used our hall. With COVID, there's actually no restrictions as far as when they can come. This was like about a month ago. And because it's the Red Cross and it's a blood, there's no restrictions apparently. And you know, we checked, you know, we have a member who's an attorney, and we checked with him to make sure there was not going to be any legal issues about that, and he cleared it and everything. I think just the space is the big issue. You know, if we're going to have to incur a cost with it, you know, I don't think it's something worth doing. But if it's something that we don't have to incur any cost with, I think it'd be a good community activity. But if I'm not sure how that works or if we have access to that space. What they do is they just you know, I've got a contact there. They come and look at the space that they would use. And if they'll approve it or not approve it, and that's how that works. So.
Well, did you want to look into that for us? Since next month, you'll be council, and then since you've already got the ins and outs of it, and then you can bring it to our next meeting?
Yeah, I can. What space would we be able to use anything at the village, or?
Why couldn't we use council chambers?
it'd be the most productive thing that's been done there in a long time since we've had meetings there. I mean, I don't know. I would want to check. I would check with Dave.
Dave,
first,
yes.
the
You'd
village
have to check with
administrator.
Dave.
Make sure that's okay. He may want to take that to council. It's not a huge space, but again, it's not small either. So I'm certain if that would work.
So does the 10 this apply then, or is there no? You said somebody, you have to have 6 volunteers. Then you're gonna have a couple people giving blood. I just didn't know, it doesn't matter about the limit to 10 people in an area.
So yeah, we do have to follow COVID restrictions, as far as where they line up, where people sit. You know, we had a lot of open space at our hall. So it's something that the Red Cross all checks for when they come. Like they'll check everything to make sure it's following the social distancing and all the restrictions.
Voting.
So that's something that they all do, which is really nice, and it made it convenient when we decided to do this event. So
Could we have it over at the Masons?
I'd have to talk to them about
liability.
that, but I don't think we would be opposed to that whatsoever.
Well, how's everybody feel? Have him look into it and get back.
Yeah,
with us then?
absolutely. Uh-huh.
And then, you know, we can, if you guys don't mind us using your temple, that would be phenomenal, and it would be a good cause also.
Yeah.
Between the
I mean, I'm
temple,
gonna talk to him,
Village
but-
Hall, the Richardson Center, if we can use one of those places, and
Well, we look forward to hearing from you there, Mitch.
I look forward to it.
great idea.
Okay, so shall we move on to working business? Is that okay? How about
Yes, go
Veterans
for it.
Memorial Subcommittee? I know Kelly's not. Mark, are you gonna?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I just realized I'm on that. We had, see, when did we last meet? We met Parks and Rec.
Last week.
So it's been a couple months since Parks and Rec has met. We decorated it for Christmas and the holidays and everything else. All the decorations were donated by Lowe's. So that was pretty awesome by Lowe's. Fred Meisner, our newest member, just walked in, said, "Hey, I'm with this." And they're like, "Here, what do you need?" He didn't have to give like a speech or anything like that. So it was nicely decorated. We are still, of course, selling bricks and everything else. Website was updated. We are looking into adding a arbor or like an arch to the main entrance of it and getting prices on that. We are also looking at having a little section for honoring war dogs. That was brought to us by a village resident. So it wouldn't be the full throttle memorial because there is the War Dog Memorial in South Lyon, but this would just be kind of, the current idea is to put it somewhere like in the garden. So it'd be like the dogs almost like watching over the memorial itself. So
I
it's
love that.
a clever
That's
idea.
awesome.
That
And
sounds
it would be a
awesome.
nice, I think the way that it was at first was like, oh, well, there's already the War Dog Memorial. And then it was like, oh no, that would be a really nice addition to it. It would really add a little more to it and everything else. So that's what we're looking at, and we're still looking to, raising funds for the remaining flagpoles and the benches and all of that stuff. But of course, the plants are in and still look pretty good despite the winter. We've been out there cleaning the bricks whenever it snows. Somebody randomly did it this morning. We're not sure who, but we're grateful. It's looking really good. Am I missing anything, Lori? Because
About we asked council to put in park signs.
oh yeah, we the council said that they would want more detail. So like in terms of what the sign would look like, including pricing and all of that. But generally there was agreement that a sign would be useful at that park entrance because there isn't one. But and this was, so we are working on that so that the Vita Trail, the memorial would be listed on there and stuff like that. But that's in process. And
That sounds awesome.
I think it's about everything.
Okay, anybody have anything else about that? Then we'll move to beautification. 2020, I was given 3,500 with the supplies for all the signs. There was 3 signs at Amenia, plus there will be a butterfly garden, plus 2 other butterfly gardens. My caramel over there. Huh? Oh.
You said there was one at Clareville. and
Yes,
one-
no, I heard that sound. I thought I was doing something wrong. And there's going to be 3 butterfly gardens plus the 6 signs plus the 2 electrical signs. So there's going to be about 11 signs. They're all going to be done in all kinds of plants, low maintenance, drought resistant. To get the beds all prepared, it cost $1,179.97. Then there was $40 taken out of beautification for the pumpkins at the Village Hall during Halloween. So the total left in the beautification budget is $21,8003 to do the plantings.
Now, Mark, is that renewed every year?
It can be. It's been going. That number has been in existence for, I guess, for a very long time. It used to be it was to be hired out, and it was just a bill that was submitted and paid, and they never really knew what was being done necessarily. So that amount has been continued for this current beautification. But should we discover more money is needed, we can always put in a request to raise that for the budget.
Okay, so then is there a time that I would request council to have this budget, or will it just
Budget
automatically roll
season,
over?
it will probably be automatically roll over, but we can officially, when I'll get to that. I was gonna tell you, when the treasurer lets us know that it's budget season, they will inform the chair of the board.
Okay.
And we can, and then you submit, these are the concerns. So sort of like the last few years when we were talking about it with Mike Kondek, we do the same process and say, yeah, we would like to raise this number if we need to, or lower this number if we feel that it's not necessary. And yeah, so it's just, well, that'll be more like March, April.
Okay,
So
thank you, because I'd like to see still more money in the budget to do other things. And Molly, all that mulch that's over there at Amelia, that's gonna go into the butterfly garden. That's why that's still there. I'm sorry, I should have moved it because it's probably an eyesore.
It's pretty snow covered right now.
Good.
Yeah.
But it'll be out of there in the spring. That'll be one of the first planter things that I get done so that you guys have your playground and the mulch is gone. So
Okay.
that'll be one of the first things. Okay, so then we'll go to Amelia Park.
Not much to update here. I'll definitely have more next month. It is in the park plan now, the recreation plan, like everything else is. So we do have some guidance there. But yeah, I'll have more for you next time. And I'll be talking to Kathy and Molly in the next couple weeks too, with a couple things so that we can make sure that we're all on the same page.
Okay, anybody else? How about we move to liaison reports, the planning commission?
I haven't been to a planning commission meeting since like September, I think.
That's okay.
They canceled them. It's not that I didn't
Right.
go.
No, it's been a strange year.
Yep.
Mark, anything from council?
Sure. Last Wednesday, we had a special meeting at 5 o'clock where we did an interview with a treasurer candidate. And at the end of that meeting, we elected to instruct Dave Gillum to offer her the position. So we were going to find out if she will accept. Her name is Kathy Behrens. She lives in the village. She is very well qualified. She was the treasurer at Grosse Pointe Woods. She's also been the treasurer in Holly. She's worked in Walled Lake. Her family is owns Woody's, the restaurant. So she would be, if she accepts, she will become our new treasurer. Mike Kondek, of course, is still with us and working and has even agreed to stay on or work in some kind of hourly fashion when budget season comes to help Kathy learn our system and everything else. Council also approved the purchase of a transponder for the lake. It's a very cool piece of equipment. It will hopefully give them some better information that the Water Management Board can use to figure some things out about better managing the lake and everything else. In December, we approved the recreation plan. And then with the minutes being approved at this last council meeting, Chris Nordstrom can now get it submitted so that we'll be all legal there. In terms of Claire Miller Park and the building addition, their water fountain will be installed in the front. It will have, of course, a regular level and then a lower level to comply with ADA. The sink will be installed in the storage room. The counters will be stainless steel, and so will be all the hardware in the bathrooms. That was quite a bit of discussion, and if you've driven by, you'll see that it's all the roofs has been put on, and they did remove the old roof on the bathroom section, so now it does look like one seamless roof on a building. So it's going to be, so once it's all done, it won't be quite so clear that it was ever an addition to the building, but it'll look like one seamless thing. And so far, Mr. Powell, the engineer, is very happy with the work by the contractor. And something that Mike Hurst actually brought up was that we are going to be talking about our goals meeting. Council will be meeting for the February planning meeting in the end of February to talk about the goals for the village and what we want to do. So anything that you guys want to put in there, of course, we can talk about as well in that meeting. And that's kind of, where we set, how we're going to look at not only for this budget, but potentially budgets in the future. So Yeah, I think that was everything from, because it was a couple council meetings, because we didn't meet in December. So, yeah.
Okay, well, thank you. So Mitchell, on the next one, will he come on to the virtual again, to the council meeting to be,
Yeah.
okay,
Well, he can. He's
No, right.
technically not going to be, since he'll be doing the swearing in at the village hall, we will vote in either way. We will vote at the council meeting to approve him as a member of
okay, we don't want to let
Parks
this
and
guy get
Recreation
away.
to make him official. So yeah, he'll be stuck
Okay,
with us.
okay, and the Commerce Parks and Rec isn't here, so comments from the public? Anybody? I'm switching to public because I'm backing up to the November meeting. We had said something about possibly getting Dave Dumont a plaque or some kind of recognition for all the years that he served with us. Is anybody still want to do that? And if so, do we move forward with it or just give him a big thank you note and a gift card?
I like the plaque idea, although, I don't know. What do you think, Mark? Do you think it's hokey or what?
Just remember, you'll get one down the road too. No.
And hokey is fine. I mean, I think it's the thought that counts. And
I
everything
kind of like
else.
the little plaque thing, but I don't know, gift card's always nice too. So whatever you want to do, you guys, it's fine with me.
Well, I just needed something from the board because I didn't know if someone wanted to look into a plaque, and if so, what to put on it, or a nice thank you card from us with a, and if so, how much? And if so, where does it come out of? And do I have to ask council to release funds, or do we
We
all
would have to,
collect
if
their
we were
$20?
gonna, if this would probably have to be something that we would pay for ourselves.
Okay, so everybody, does
Due to the nature of
anybody?
it.
So there's what, 5, 6 of us, so about 120, $20 a piece, is that too much?
You want me
to
to
ask
look,
for?
how about I look into a plaque and let you know?
Okay,
And that
Okay.
way, if it's something that can be done and not too,
okay, Mark, thank you.
costly, and that way, because we've been kind of shopping for plaques for veterans, so
Okay,
it's
thank
already
you.
in my world.
Yeah, I like the plaque idea, I
I do
think.
too. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark.
Sure.
Alrighty, any comments from board members? Sorry, it's been so late on this one. We'll have shorter meetings. I'm gonna not yak so much. Any comments from anyone else?
Happy New Year.
I'll say, welcome aboard, Mitch.
Yeah, Mitch.
Long-
Too late to back out now.
What's
Okay.
that?
I said, too late to back out now. You're done.
Oh, yeah. I'm in. It's done.
You're in.
Everyone be safe.
Alrighty. So then, pardon me?
See you next month.
Yes, sir. Okay, so do we have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll second it.
Second,
Okay,
Roll call vote.
roll call, Sherry, please.
Miller,
Yes.
Breakovich,
Yes.
Long Break,
Yes.
Ingram,
yes.
Jericho,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Piramini.
Yes.
Okay, so thank y'all. I was more nervous than a long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs. Thank you for bearing with me, and then we'll see you.
Good job, Julia.
Good
Night, everybody.
Then have a blessed
Good
week.